Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to the show. My name is Elizabeth, and I am your friendly hillbilly host, and this is Hillbilly Crime. If you've not been here before, welcome, welcome, welcome to this little channel that we're trying to get to grow. If you're not subscribed, please take a second and hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button if you do. And we're waiting on Sweet Tater to get on here with us. Today, we're going to give a firsthand witness account from the day of the incident in Whitesburg with Mickey Stines and Kevin Mullins. And it is a very, very shocking story. So, everybody come on in. Hello, Miss Tracy. Welcome to our chat. We have a great chat. And we also have memberships. Now we're going to start doing some membership shows. So far we've only got one member. And that's our mod, Lovebug. But we're going to be doing some membership shows. So
I think it's wonderful.
Members only. And one of my friends who worked at the courthouse and who has a few interesting stories, that's what we're going to be doing on our members live, is telling some juicy tidbits. So grab your membership if you want to.
Not on the pilot. Oh.
We'll mute Mommy there for a second while she's talking to her worker. Good morning, Miss Vanessa. Hello. How is everybody? Did you have a good weekend? All right, I'm going to unmute you now, Mommy.
Okay.
Hi.
We're working here, so don't pay no attention.
That's all right. Willie just left.
Oh, good. What'd he say?
He brought me some pop, and he is a beast of a boy. And Willie is my oldest son who lives with Mama.
Isn't he beautiful?
He is absolutely huge. He's been working out, and his shoulders are that wide. He's got the biggest chest on him ever was.
Well, he's sort of big all over, you know.
I love him.
He's got a big head, too.
Yeah. Miss Georgia Culture, good morning.
Oh, I like these names.
Yes. Welcome. Okay, so one of our, there's a lot of people from around this area who watch this show. And so thank you very much for everybody who supports this little hillbilly show. And one of our viewers
when you get done
was actually in the courthouse that day that this happened. And she's been watching our coverage, and she wanted to send me what happened with her that day. And she doesn't want me to use her name, but I'm going to read, but she wants me to share her story. So I'm going to read what she wrote. And I'm not going to put it up on the screen, though, so that way we can keep her anonymous. Okay. You ready? Is everybody ready? Let's see. Hello, everybody. Janice 5957. Good morning, beautiful ladies. Good morning to you, sweetheart. Thank you for being here. Sundown Farms. Good morning. All right, guys. So I'm just going to read word for word what she wrote. Been watching your YouTube videos, and I just want to say this anonymously. Her and her sister were in the courthouse the day of the pew pew, trying to get something done with their car. We went upstairs to get paperwork to take down to the clerk's office. It was going to cost more than I had on me, so I decided to wait and not go see Kevin at that time. It required the judge's signature before I could give it to the clerk's office. We got off the elevator, and nobody, was anywhere around. Thought that was odd, but we kept walking towards the front doors. As we were going out the second doors to the outside, we were met by around 8 cops in tactical gear with AR, the big ones. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it or not, so, in our face. I put my hands up and said, I don't know what's going on, but we didn't do it. Thank God, a couple of them knew us and told us to get out of there. We got outside and people were running around, screaming everywhere. Total chaos. One of the girls in Winston's office that we knew grabbed my sister and said for us to get inside with them. Said there was a active pew pew person in the courtroom. We saw a bus coming and ran out to stop it from coming any closer to keep the kids safe. While walking back to the courthouse, I saw Mickey walking up the sidewalk, and I stopped him and talked to him. I thought it was odd that he wasn't in uniform or gear like the other cops we saw. He didn't seem to be in a hurry. I told him to be so careful because there was a pew pew person in the courtroom. I thought maybe he didn't know. He didn't seem to be in a hurry to get inside, and certainly wasn't dressed for it. He didn't have his gun drawn like the others did. When they were on their way in. He walked right through all the people outside and up the steps to the front doors. My sister had to get back to work, so we left. I started getting phone calls asking if I'd heard what had happened. I was told by a couple people that Mickey was the pew pew person. I did not believe that because I had just saw him and talked to him. I even gave him a friendly hug, as I did almost every time I saw him. Then I learned that it was indeed Mickey. I was sick and my whole body started shaking. What if he had opened up on all of us outside? What if this and what if that? Just everything going through my mind. I couldn't sleep for days. I touched him. Minutes after he had just cold-blooded, red-rummed, an unarmed man. I had asked, and she had to ask for some medicine to try to help her through, calm her nerves after this situation. Let me read the rest of it here. So, okay, and that's all I'm gonna. And she said she heard that he had went over to Daniel Dotson's office before he had came to the courthouse, and Daniel wasn't there. So that's her statement, y'all. She gave him a hug, and It's just it blows my mind. It really, really does. So what do you all think about that? Everybody's good morning. Good morning. Hello, angry bird. Let's see. What do you think about that, Mommy? You got anything to say?
Well, of course you'd be upset. I mean, when I heard that, I said, well, there must have been somebody there that he was, that Mickey was trying to keep from hurting the judge. That's what I thought, when I first heard it, that we just didn't have the whole story. But I liked Mickey. He'd be the last person that I'd think would do such a thing. He's trained though, and when you have possession of a gun and you're trained to the degree that he was trained, you can, it's just the way that it is. But I just really don't know what happened that made him do that. I really don't. That's not who he was. That's not who he is. And I don't think that he would be the kind of person that would just take one of them big old long kinds of things that'll repeatedly fire and cut down on a whole bunch of people. That's not who he is. He just had some reason that he just couldn't get over.
I don't know if Sweet Tater saw the video that we did the other night. Have you seen the recording that came out where the girl, the victim of
I never could. I read her statement long ago, but I never did see the video. And I don't think I got to I tried to watch the video and couldn't get it to play or something. I think that's what happened. But I did read that a long time ago where she made a
accusation that the judge, she said that he had, we played it here on my show the other night.
Well, she said that she saw a video of him doing naughty things.
Yeah, of Judge Mullins. But that interview was given back when they were investigating Ben Fields. It wasn't something that was recently done. That was, from what we understand.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the police had that interview. They had that information, and it doesn't look like they've really done anything with it at all. So,
well, we don't know what they've done, but
no, we know
they're going to try to protect the reputation of the area.
Yep. Vanessa Irwin, I think obviously he was only out to unalive one person. Yeah. Oh yeah. Adventures of Pete and Moore. I just read a firsthand account of someone who was at the courthouse that day that the incident happened. So Stein was chill and not in a hurry. That's cold-blooded, y'all. This is really sad for everyone involved. Something made him snap. Can't imagine what would cause a man to ruin his life and his family's. Well, and, we said it the other night, we just don't know how much.
He was dedicated to protecting the people of the area. He had been with the police force long enough to retire because that's what he was going to do and go fishing.
Yeah. I got a few pictures here that I took the night that we went up there. Let me pull them up here real quick, and we'll just take a look at a few of them. I didn't put them all up here, but we can take a look at a few of them. This was it was starting to get dusk that day, and there wasn't, like I said, there wasn't anybody there in town except for just a few people over here at Summit City. See, there's the front of it, and there was a couple people there. Those were the people that were out there. And that over to the right, where the police car is where the restaurant and bar is that they ate lunch at every day. And I just like they said something. I know this is kind of trivial, but in one of the newspapers it said where they were eating lunch was that restaurant where a cheeseburger cost $9, and they made a point to put that in there in the article. And it wasn't an article from somebody around here, it was an article from somebody from away from here. And I just thought that that was very interesting that they added that.
Well,
And
I went in that one restaurant down there a couple of days after the event. Just, I don't know why I was in town, but I was. And so I went over there to eat. And I don't remember what I had, but the things that they had were not just, something you could go down to a fast food joint and drive through and get. You know what I'm saying? They were fancied up. So, and it might have come with French fries or the drink or something. I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was kind of expensive, because I wanted drive-through prices.
right. Well, this was that night right here. This was that evening.
That's the courthouse, in front of the courthouse.
Yeah, and you see all the police. Those look to me like, and me and Shannon kind of said it the other night, the state police were like the very last ones there. And every single police officer in Letcher County showed up. I mean, even officers that,
Neon probably showed up.
They did. Everybody was there, and they were so rude and disrespectful. It was, I had reported on another video that one of the family members had knocked a reporter's Pete. They had knocked every time something comes on my road, my dogs out there in the cage go nuts on each other. Sorry, I thought it would stop a lot sooner than that. What was I saying, Mom? The dogs.
You were saying about the rudeness in front of the courthouse.
So one of them. So when the reporters got there, there were reporters there, and it was a local station. It wasn't a far off station. It was one of our local stations. And he had his camera up on, I guess, and the family member knocked it off and hit him in the head and allegedly, and just acted awful. And
they were in a state of shock.
Well, I know, but the cops then were treating everybody like that, like the way that they spoke to that man who just got a ASS altered. They were mean and rude to him.
Well, we all know that the police in this country need some training in how to deal with those kinds of situations, because they don't always handle them in the best way.
No, they sure don't. But then I figure, what I said the other night too, when I went down there, when I started to go down there, Shannon wanted to go and I wanted to go. And so I told her I'd pick her up. And, she worked down there for several years. She knew both of them. She worked right in that courthouse. She was one of their custodians. And I mean, we had every right to go down there, but I thought that it would be so packed, there wouldn't be no place to park. I thought it was just going to be covered up with people, and there wasn't nobody there. I mean, nobody. And so I was very surprised, but that just it kind of triggers my own thinking that most people knew not to go down there. I didn't. But,
well, that was the smart thing to do, but you were looking for a story.
Well, I mean, not necessarily a story, just I wanted to see what was going on. I mean, it's not every day that you have your sheriff unalive your judge, I thought it was just going to be more I don't know. That more
I'm
people,
sorry. I shouldn't have said that. You were
well,
just being nosy.
yeah, basically. I mean, I basically. See, Genevieve, I don't think that he was out to unalive anyone. He was a man seeking answers, and when he got the answer that he was seeking, he responded.
I agree.
Richard Smith, it sure is sad. It is.
It's sad for the whole county because it emotionally affects every one of us because before this event occurred, I'd say 90% of the people in this county would say, yeah, Mickey's a great dude, we like him.
I'd say 95%. 99. There was very few people didn't like Mickey. Very few.
Hot dog is $8. I know, that's what I'm saying.
Food's gotten really expensive. I think your mom was my teacher at Southeast. She probably was. She
So
taught
who is that talking?
Blue Blood 22. She taught math at the college for 40 years.
It's me, but I must be a lot older.
She reminds me of my adopted mother, Mrs. Judy Phillips. She was from that area.
Well, yeah, I've been listening to some of these old songs, trying to imitate them. And and they were from the 30s, and I sound just like them. We must not have changed much around here.
No, we sure don't change much around here. We're like the last place in the country that
somebody said, I don't know who, that Eastern Kentucky was a great place to live if the world came to an end, because it takes 20 years for anything to get here.
Yep.
Well, that was supposed to be funny. Nobody laughed that.
Sorry. I was looking at the comments, trying to do two things at once.
Oh, I get it.
They were home hiding their evidence. Let's see. The cameraman was just doing his job, and so were you. Yeah. I was scared to death. I was scared to death to take out my phone. That's why I don't have any pictures of during the daytime, because I was afraid I'd get beat up, ganged up, and beat up by all them women down there. I mean, they were mad that anybody was there. It was just awful. It was an awful experience. And everybody that was at Summit City there had already been an altercation before we got there between the people at Summit City and the family. And so everybody that was at Summit City was just upset, and they were upset at how they were being treated. So
people just don't have any experience.
I asked the reporter if he was going to put it on his news story. He was like, no. I was like, you ain't going to say you got beat up? He was like, no. I'm like, okay. Shame X2. Hi, Elizabeth and Sweet Tater.
Howdy, howdy.
Tater, I laughed. Now, Mom, tell everybody why you call yourself Sweet Tater. I love it.
Well, I call myself Sweet Tater because I'm on the radio. So the radio station is a local nonprofit radio. It's a community radio. So we don't have commercials and stuff like that. We have some sponsors. Okay. So it's www.wmmt.org, and you can listen to me if you want to. It's on 88.7 as well. And I'm on Thursday and Friday from 10 to 12. That's Eastern Standard Time. So anyway, when I started being DJ some years ago, I had to come up with a name. And so I decided that I wanted to be, that people have all these different names they use. And I wanted to be a sweet tater as versus all these cogitators and dictators and commutators, and I can't even think of all
Agitators.
taters in the world. Oh, yeah, agitators. So I said, I'm just going to be a sweet tater. So we called it Sweet Taters Tubers.
I
But
love it.
sweet taters have tubers and roots, so I could be sweet tater tubers and roots. That's a little too long.
That's all right. We're gonna get you a show going called on YouTube, Taters Tubers. That'd fit real good. Um, okay, Les Evans. Can someone fill me in on the subject and the county you all are referring to? We're in Letcher County, where our former sheriff, Mickey Stines, unalived, our judge, district court judge, Judge Kevin Mullins, and we read a first-hand account of someone who was there that day.
Getting some license or something. She was not an employee. I think that's important
Yeah, she was
because she
not an
doesn't.
employee.
Yeah, so she won't get fired. You know what I'm saying? So she's not. You know.
Yep. So I'll read it again for anybody who's just joining us. It's not very long, so let me read it again. All right. So her and her sister were in the courthouse the day of the pew pew trying to get something for their car. When we went upstairs to get paperwork to take down to the clerk's office. It was going to cost more than I had on me, so I decided to wait and not go see Kevin at that time. It required the judge's signature before I could give it to the clerk's office. We got off the elevator and nobody, and I mean nobody, was anywhere. Thought that was odd, but we kept walking towards the front doors. As we were going out the second doors to the outside, we were met by around 8 cops in tactical gear with their ARs in our face. I put my hands up and said, I don't know what's going on, but we didn't do it. Thank God a couple of them knew us and told us to get out of there. We got outside and people were running around screaming everywhere. Total chaos. One of the girls in Winston's office that we knew grabbed my sister and said for us to get inside with them. Said there was a pew-pew person in the courtroom. We saw a bus coming and ran out to stop it from coming any closer to keep the kids safe. While walking back to the courthouse, I saw Mickey walking up the sidewalk, and I stopped him and talked to him. I thought it was odd that he wasn't in uniform or gear like the other cops we saw. He didn't seem to be in a hurry. I told him to be careful because there was a pew-pew person in the courtroom. I thought maybe he didn't know. He didn't seem to be in a hurry to get inside and certainly wasn't dressed for it. He didn't have his pew-pew drawn like the others did when they were on their way in. He walked right through all the people outside and up the steps to the front doors. My sister had to get back to work, so we left. I started getting phone calls asking if I had heard what happened. I was told by a couple people that Mickey was the pew-pew person, and I didn't believe that because I had just seen him and talked to him. I even gave him a friendly hug, as I did almost every time I saw him. Then when I learned it was indeed Mickey, I was sick, and my whole body started shaking. What if he had opened up on all of us outside? What if this and what if that? Just everything going through my mind. I couldn't sleep for days. I touched him. minutes after he had just cold red rummed an unarmed man. And then she's been struggling with it. She's been struggling with it ever since. So that is her, a witness account that was there and gave Mickey a big old hug and was telling him, trying to warn him. Ain't that? I just think, oh, I said it the other night. This has affected the whole community. It's not just affected their families. This has affected everybody. Let's see. We listened to a small town radio when I was a kid with Grandma.
Oh.
So this woman at the courthouse didn't hear them. Yeah, I know. I thought that too, but apparently they didn't. They were upstairs. So apparently they didn't. I don't know where they would have, upstairs is where you go to the clerk's office. And we used to have a driver's license bureau up there, but they don't. I think they took that away. I don't know if that's.
I think you got to go to Pikeville.
Yeah, but that room is still there. I think you're allowed to do like certain things still through there. You can't get it renewed or something like that. You have to go to Pikeville, but I could be wrong. Les Evans gave us a super sticker. Thank you, honey. That makes you our stream sponsor. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Community radio is wonderful. Now, we probably wouldn't report on something like this. We don't need to. We're educational in a sense. So we have lots of good stuff, good reports, and most of the DJs. Some of them are employees of Appalshop, but then there are those like me that just go in and do radio shows. So some of us are not bonded to Appalshop, and there's all kinds of great stuff you can learn on community radio. All of them, I'm sure. And usually they have up on the web what the programming is going to be, like if it's going to be, I heard one that was from years ago of Ralph Stanley and his son, Ralph too, doing a show at Appalshop, and it was really good.
Yeah.
I'm just talking.
Appalshop is a big
nonprofit.
It is, but I mean it's a pretty big name in Letcher County, or in Whitesburg anyway.
It's a big name all over the country and abroad because they were doing a lot of recording stuff back in the 60s. In the 60s, somebody came here with cameras. That was a grant to teach high school students, I think, this filming, and they had great cameras. But so they could leave. Well, the people didn't want to leave. They stayed, and they became the camera people. And then they added a radio station. And so that bunch that was in that first filming group had been the pushers for Appalshop.
Yeah.
And the men that came here they came from Yale. This man came from Yale with his wife.
Yeah.
With the grant.
There's not very many locals that work there. The majority, am I wrong? The majority of the people who work at Appalshop, and get paid, have working jobs. They're not from this area, though, are they? Most of them.
Well, some of them might be and have been, and different things like that. But mostly they do bring in a lot of people to preserve the diversity of the group. They want people from all over so that you have all these views. That's my opinion.
Gotcha. All right. Um, so,
And
what's that?
sometimes people from off deserve our traditions. Respect our traditions a lot more than we do at home.
Yeah. Jacqueline Wood said, was he going after Daniel also, or did he just need to talk? I don't know. I did forget to leave that. I forgot and left that off at the end, didn't I? She said at the end that she heard Mickey went to Daniel's office first before he went to the courthouse, and Daniel wasn't there. But we don't know that for sure, of course. But that I've heard that from a couple other sources too, that he had first went to Daniel's office, and Daniel Dotson is one of our high-priced attorneys in this area, and he he also serves, if I'm correct, he also serves as a judge for like family court. So he's also very connected and has been here for a very long time. And there's allegedly much talk about that too. But I know those folks. Elizabeth Barrett Smith is from Hazard. I can't thinking her husband's name.
His name is Herbie.
Herbie.
And he's done a lot of great films. Some of them have been about the old regular Baptists and all kinds of things that you wouldn't have access to. And he was in that first group.
Oh, Miss Bonnie, love your show. A lot of people are giving you praise for the information you're giving out and not holding back. You are great at what you do. Love your videos. Well, thank you, Miss Bonnie. I sure appreciate that. I try not to. I try. I'm trying. Yeah, Whimsical Wade says, yes, Appalshop is a big deal. Locals may not be aware, but it's admired and respected from afar.
Well, amen, brother.
I love Elizabeth. She's a great person. Did some award-winning filming at Appalshop.
Well, Appalshop is a nice place. I mean, sometimes they hurt people's feelings, and I'm not sure they're too gentle about doing it. When they hit the hammer, they hit the hammer hard.
Well, it ain't just when they hit the hammer. I wasn't going to say this, but
no.
Mm-mm. Well, they just don't know how to communicate with people from this area. Culture matters through communication, not just them. I mean, anybody who's not from this area.
Anybody from off.
Yes, anybody from off, I think, has kind of a difficult time communicating with people from here. It's very easy on both sides to take offense to what the other's saying just because you don't understand the form of communication. You know what I mean? Is that bad?
Well, no, that's not bad. It's the truth. It happens every place.
Yeah.
Particularly when you have an isolated community like Letcher County is.
Like hillbillies. Les Evans, thank you. Glad to catch you live. I go down to Bell and Knox counties whenever I can. That's beautiful country. I love it.
There's some sort of a land bunch of people in Kentucky that are acquiring in Harlan County. I know they are, and other places too are acquiring a lot of primitive land, and it's put in a bank where nobody can build and put roads and stuff like that. And I'm really proud of them.
Well, good.
Oh, yeah, because, so many people have left. Yeah, they were from Yale. Did I say Yale?
You did.
Okay. So many people have left here on to going on, that it's a migration that we talk about, going on to better ways of life than somehow involved in coal. And so they have these family farms and they don't know what to do with them. So they donate them to these land people. I think it's marvelous. Appalshop doesn't have anything to do with that. That's just something else I know about what's going on culturally in this area.
Yeah.
Well, they were from Yale.
Brother Smith says, what about the judge in the area named Kraft? That's Jimmy Kraft. He looks so much like Stines, or at least that's what I see on the county page. I like Jimmy Kraft.
I do too.
Jimmy has always been really nice to me, and
his daddy.
His wife is a really nice lady, and his dad was Whitesburg's mayor forever, James Wiley Kraft.
He was a lawyer here forever. I don't know what kind of positions he's held.
Yeah, well, he was a prosecutor, I reckon, because one of the stories that I'm going to do, I was going to do it on Saturday before I found that article about Stines. So I've kind of put this other story off, but it's about Dr. Acker. Anybody that is around this area knows the story of Dr. Acker and his daughter Tammy in Neon. They just live, their house is about half a mile from my mom's house now. So she lives right there, and it's almost directly across the street from the church that we went to for 10 years. So I know that area very well. But we didn't move to Neon until after Dr. Acker and his daughter, they had a home invasion, and the daughter died, and the dad, Dr. Acker, was left for dead, but he survived. And the boys that did it, that committed the crime, they went on a big spree after that, and they were on death row, but they were granted life or something, a commutation for life or something like that. But that's the story that I'm gonna do maybe later this evening. But something that I found while doing my research on that story is it's an appeal that was done on behalf of those boys that were charged with that crime. And in the appeal, James Wiley Kraft was one of the prosecutors, and he was accused of many, many bad things in the trial. So we're going to read that.
But that's not this Kraft that he's talking about. It was his daddy.
That was his daddy, yeah. Jimmy Kraft, now, who's the judge, he is the circuit court judge. So if he wouldn't have had to recuse himself, he would have been the judge overseeing this case. It would have went upstairs. So that's how Kentucky law works, which I'm no lawyer, remember, but it has to start in the district courtroom. And then once the judge sees the evidence, the preliminary hearing or whatever it was called, then they see if there's enough evidence for it to go upstairs, enough probable cause, or I'm not sure what the wording is for it. Man, I wish I would have went to law school. But so it goes upstairs to the grand jury. They send it to the grand jury. The grand jury looks at it. If they send out the indictment, or issue the indictment, or whatever it's called, then it goes into the circuit court upstairs. And I know different states are different on what they call things.
I'll throw in here that the judge we have now, the Kraft judge, he's got a son that's a lawyer too.
I think he did go to law school, didn't he?
He was a brilliant young man, because he was in school when when Willie was in school, and I used to go to some of those. They do these things where you'd answer questions. I forget what they're called. And he was so smart. I guess he just remembered everything he ever heard because he answered all the questions.
Jimmy's boy.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but I'd remember it if I heard it.
Well, I'm surprised that they didn't make him a third. Let's see. LS says people sense condescension and arrogance. They won't communicate with people like that.
Well, I think LS is right.
Yep. I've always heard some of the Ozarks dialect came from Appalachia because people migrated.
Well, for sure, it was a non-changing society, and really, for all we know, everybody in the whole country spoke like us at one time, and we just kept it because we don't have influx. But I'm sure a lot of people came from Appalachia and went out there to the Ozarks, and I think the Beverly Hillbillies was from Ozarks. I don't think they were from Eastern Kentucky.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes, same family names in Ozarks as in Eastern Kentucky. Well, I went to a reunion that they did last year, and they had it up in Louisville. And do you remember the name of what they call that society? It's an African American group.
And they're from Lynch and Benham, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the social club, I believe they call it.
Yeah, the Eastern Kentucky Social Club, and it's majority. It's an African American group because there were a whole lot that used to live in Lynch back in the early 19th century or 20th century.
No, that'd be the 20th century, and they came to mine the coal. They would go down to Alabama and those places down there that, were in rank poverty, and they would advertise to come up to Lynch and work in the coal mines, and you could get rich and you could have an account down there at their store, and they'd give you a place to live in and all that stuff. So they did get a lot of people from that area to come. So they had a big population of African Americans. And from my experience, they were the most wonderful people on this earth, the descendants that live over there now.
Yeah. Well,
I love the social club.
That's what the reason why they have that social club is because many of the descendants of those people, those coal miners, with the people who had ancestors who were African American coal miners from Lynch and Benham years and years and years ago. Now all of their descendants, it's kind of like a family reunion, and where they all migrated off and went into like Ohio, and a lot of them went to Indiana, Ohio, and just that area up there around the lake and stuff.
Well, it's kind of a Rust Belt area.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that's what it's called, but it's where they had car manufacturing.
Mm-hmm. Factories. They went to look in search of jobs and factories. I'd say because back, if you think about it, back years and years ago, that's what everybody wanted, was like a factory job, because
they had good benefits.
Yeah, they had real good benefits, and like a dad could go get a good job at one of these car plants or factories, and the money that they could make from that one job would support your family. I remember being in high school, and that was what everybody wanted to do back when I was in school, was get a job like that,
Go to Lexington and get in
Toyota.
Yeah.
But so the social club has this annual reunion every year. And man, they do it up big. They do it up big time. They changed their location. Like last year they had it in Louisville, and then I think this year they were going to have it in Cleveland, Ohio. Michigan, like they really, and the people that are over this are really, really dedicated. Like it's a big deal. It's one of the biggest ones that I know of from around here. Like they really do it up. Let's see. There was a comment on here. I think I passed it up.
I guess we've bored everybody to death and they've gone on to bigger and happier things.
No. What exactly is Stines looking at as a result from the civil suit? Well, I'm not really sure. I heard the attorneys talking on a few of the interviews. One of the attorneys said that he was getting ready to lose everything. Like before the pew pew had happened, he was going to lose his career, his reputation. But I'm not really sure. Like, I don't know if that's just a financial, because civil case is not a criminal case. It's so.
Well, it would have been a long time before any funds would have been collected. And I always wondered about that, if the funds wouldn't come from the county and not from Mickey himself.
Well, the sheriff's department is self-funded.
Well, then it would have come from the sheriff's department, which is also a branch of the county government.
But it's broke. The sheriff's department, well, I don't know if it's broke. I shouldn't say that. But they're always asking the fiscal court for money.
Well, everybody does that. Nobody has enough money to operate on these days, with prices increasing and salaries and health insurance for the people. It's just really expensive.
But some people get mad at me when I mention Diddy, P Diddy. But if you look at the way that case has kind of unfolded, it was a civil case that was first filed, and it was settled he settled that case within 24 hours. But once the civil case was filed, it made it public record so everybody could read what was in it and see that video of him. Well, then after that had hit the news and stuff, then this criminal case was put into play, or the criminal investigation started, and they ended up bringing criminal charges. So a civil case can precipitate a criminal case, apparently, but it's also a completely different state, and I'm no lawyer.
Well, that guy already that done it had already confessed and was in jail, I reckon.
Who? On the P Diddy stuff?
No, not him. I don't even. P Diddy is somebody that does.
You talking about Ben Fields? Yeah.
Yeah, that case was over.
Yeah. Well, that's
was already the legal part was already over, or they were just in the civil suit.
Well,
looking for money.
But that was for Ben Fields. I'm talking about Mickey Stines. There was a criminal case against Ben Fields that precipitated the civil case
against Mickey.
Against Mickey. The civil case brought Mickey into it because and see, that's a good point. I'm glad you said that. Okay, so think about this. They did the investigation into Ben Fields. They had this interview done with this victim. And this was before he took any plea. He wasn't convicted. This was just an investigation. So they investigated Ben Fields. They had this interview with this victim saying that there were these tapes and implicating allegedly implicating Judge Mullins. Well, then Ben Fields gets charged, takes the plea, gets 6 months sentence in jail, and then the civil case comes out, and then because that was an easy case to win. They already had a plea bargain, which means that's a conviction because he's pleading guilty. So any lawyer that would have picked that up would have won that case because of the plea bargain. I mean, it was just easy money. It was an easy case to take. Here, this was the comment I was looking for. Brad Enlow, off subject. I'm in Harlan and was by a city employee last week. I was told to come to Letcher County for a lawyer. No one will help me here. I will let you have the content to post. Well, that's kind of exactly what we've been talking about. Lawyers around here are not going to take the case if it's going to go against any of their buddies or their coworkers.
I think Pillersdorf took that.
In my opinion, the only reason he took that case was because they had the plea bargain. That was an easy case.
Well, yeah, he's an old man. He's going to take easy cases.
That's right. And he didn't have to go in there and prove anything. When I asked him to help me with a civil case, he wouldn't do it. He didn't want no part of it, because then you'd have to go in there and you'd have to prove what they did. But with this case, they had a plea bargain. The charges that he pled guilty to, pretty much, he pled guilty to what she accused him of.
So you got this comment here about he's going to send you something.
Yeah, you go right ahead. hillbillycrime@gmail. I'll put it in the description too. I meant to do that the other night and I think I forgot. hillbillycrime@gmail. It's hard to find a lawyer, Mr. In-law. It really, really is.
Well, they don't want to become the enemy of the court.
That's right. That's where they work every day.
And I think that it's probably most towns are that way.
They are. The legal community is a very, very small circle of people.
It's a small circle.
There are Brashears and Combs in the Ozarks. Plus, you had the Trail of Tears.
That's right. That was where the Cherokee were forced out of North Carolina, is what I'm going to say, because somebody had found a little dab of gold on wherever they were living. So they wanted to take them all over to Oklahoma, and most of them died.
Oh. Social club used to be lit. Yeah, there was a lot of dirty deeds went on at the social club too.
Well, I thought it was wonderful. What does lit mean? I just thought he meant having a good time.
It is. That's all. I think that's all he means. I don't mean like Ben Fields dirty. I just mean partying. The social club was the big party central of Lent. Let's see. Tell it, sweet Tater.
Well, we went there and did higher ground.
Brad Enlow says the African American presence is not in Lynch as that area as it used to be. I know it's changed a lot. That a lot of them left here. The
ones that are here are the ones I know, and through higher ground I got to know them a little better, but I always worked with people that were part of the social club.
Yeah.
And I just loved those people. Those people were so kind.
They are.
And they sang great. They had a bunch of them had a thing. It wasn't associated with the social club, but they were associated with this singing bunch and with the social club. And they were just marvelous.
Yeah, we can't get no better than mountain manners. I saw some of those videos. I forgot what the group was called, but they were isolated at first, but not now.
Are we talking about? I don't know what we're talking about though. There,
I think he was talking about the
singing at social club.
coal miners.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe not. I think that's what you're talking about. It ain't it, Shame X? Want to co-stream and go to the museum? I've been
Well,
planning
yeah,
to
you
go
ought
live
to do
stream and
that.
make content. Yeah, we could go do the coal museum. I know right where it's at. I think I was one of the very last classes that were in the Benham grade school. I think they closed it down after, like, I was there in 5th grade. And I think after we left, they closed the Benham school down. I went to school with some brochures.
We still have a lot of brochures around.
Never, ever underestimate Appalachians. Some will actually pretend to not be smart. Ha, they are sizing you up.
You better believe it. And that's though, I got to know the local people that are the people that live in the hollers or not, the upper class people. I got to know all kinds of people from teaching at the college. And even today, I've been retired almost 5 years. They will approach me in places and thank me for helping them become such and such so they could go on and support their families. Well, I had no idea when I came here because I'm not from here. I only been here 35 or 40 years. But for helping them become whatever it is that they wanted to become to help support their family. And I didn't know that I'd find a cause for my life. And it became like a cause for my life to help everyone that I came in contact with to get an education to improve their states in life.
Yep. Yep. And you've always been a wonderful champion for students.
And for Eastern Kentucky, because those people that you think are kind of not so bright, they are sizing you up, just like she said.
When the mines first started, we had people from all over the world.
Absolutely.
Italians, Greek, Syrian, Lebanese, doll hairs were Syrian. Oh, huh. The blacks from the South, they all have the same accents.
It's wonderful. The people that came, I'm not saying the coal mines were wonderful, but the influx of people into this region, and that's why we have some of the structures that we have, because those Italian stonemakers did those structures, and we try to save as many of them as we can.
Yeah. Tony Rogers says, just wanted to say, hey, I'm enjoying all your shows. Thank you. Thank you. Shamex, yes, by accepting the plea, Ben was admitting guilt. And that was an easy win. All they needed was a lawyer to file the civil lawsuit. And that was a easy money case. So, but if you didn't have that, you're not, it's just hard to find legal representation in this area.
I think Ben was probably guilty. I'm not saying he wasn't guilty, but just because somebody accepts a plea does not mean they are guilty. That just means that they're fearful of being convicted, or it can be that they were guilty. It could be either one. So accepting the plea is easier than having to go to trial.
Well, and speaking of, you want to do Speak Your Piece?
Well, I guess I could.
We can do Speak Your Piece. Give me just a second.
It's going to be awful long. We've been on here an hour. Is that okay?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Let me pull it up here real quick. And
now these are letters. And I think it's probably legitimate because that newspaper is known for its liberalness. That's what I'm going to say. So they would publish these back when people didn't want this stuff published. And it's letters from people that live in the hollers, and they may be privileged, or they may be lesser privileged, or they might just want to see their name or their
name in the paper.
Well, not their name, because they don't usually put the name.
Oh, okay.
But they want to see what they want their opinion in the paper.
Yeah. Well, there's one of these that mentioned what you were talking about, so that's what it triggered my memory. All right, so let me read here. This first one, it says, "Can someone tell me what is the use in going to Cain's Kitchen for the big giveaways outside? The people who set it up and put the stuff outside take all the good stuff before anyone can pick through it. The people means the workers at Cain's Kitchen. You have to wait in line while they put all the good stuff in their own vehicles. We get to pick over the leftovers they don't want. Someone should check into this."
Well, that might be true.
When I worked at the homeless shelter, that's what they did all the time. They would go through every donation. Every time they'd get a great big donation, the workers there would go through and take everything they wanted home, and then they left the leftovers for the homeless people.
Well, I think that probably occurs everywhere, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And we can't automatically judge that the stuff they're putting in their vehicles is going to their house.
That's true.
They may be distributing it, and it's not intended. A lot of that stuff is not just for people that have a limited income. It's for the whole county.
For everybody.
But I understand the point, and yes, that stuff should be checked into.
So, and then the paper responded and said, "So, it really is true that no good deed goes unpunished?" With a question mark.
Well, I think the Cain Kitchen is wonderful.
Okay, let me go on to this next one. "I am a 77-year-old woman. I have had 3 very disappointing marriages. 2 of my husbands have passed. I married a pastor who was raised in Olive Hill. He told me if I would marry him, he would give me a home for the rest of my life. What a joke. I had a large amount of money from the sale of my nice home and from working 40 years, 6 and 7 days a week, with few vacations. I went to Israel with the Crusades for Christ church group in 1999. It was beautiful and a wonderful memory. The marriage with the pastor ended in my 911 call. He told 4 sheriff's deputies he wanted me out. They gave me 15 minutes to pack. I never got all my things, and I had no place to go while he had a church and 2 homes. I got the street and my car. I had paid off 3 credit cards for him and put thousands into his second mortgage for repairs and remodeling. I am now broke and homeless thanks to my pretend family, pretend Christian friends, and a pretend pastor husband. Should read the Bible every day. Ex-wife number 5. That's sad.
Well, she'd had 3 husbands, and the one you have now is not your own. That comes in a song.
Oh, if the constables get police powers, then it will be like several Barney Fifes running around Letcher County. I urge the magistrates not to support that. Has the city of Jenkins quit picking up garbage in the Jenkins area? At one time, a person was assigned to clean up Main Street, High Street, Payne Street, Libby Lane, Wright Circle, Lakeside, and the area up to the bridge on US 23. The winter is when the garbage is seen the most because of the lack of greenery. Let's hope the city and the citizens of Jenkins put more effort into collecting the garbage. One of the first thing a visitor will comment on is the cleanliness of the play or the garbage that is there. That's true.
Yep. We can all do our part in the garbage, and we all need to do more in terms of picking up garbage, whether it's ours or not.
Don't litter. My truck is so full of garbage because my kids won't throw it away, but we don't litter. I don't like littering. Okay. I always try to warn people about a woman in Jenkins. She sleeps with married men, and she's also a thief. Having recently been arrested for stealing. Too many people think too much of her, and she's nothing but trash. To be honest, she makes others look bad. Not only is she a homewrecker and a thief, but her work is bad. Speak Your Peace should allow her to be called out by name because they allow any other business and business owners to be called out. It just seems they never want to put her name out there. Weird, if you ask me.
Well, it's not weird, it's the law.
I wonder if the Jenkins School Board has any plans to have the creek dredged by the Burdine Elementary School. Lots of money has been spent on the school building and grounds after the terrible flood of 2022. The creek should be dredged from the old railroad bridge down to number 2 bottom. This would guarantee the safety of the school, which is in the floodplain.
Yes, I'm sure it's in the floodplain. And of course, you can't go around just dredging any place you want to because they might be rare and unusual fish in there. So it does take some effort to get something dredged. But I agree with her that if they could dredge it, they should.
But let's read some of these comments before I get too far down into it. War Boop says they take the really good stuff, then sell it on sites or whatever to make money on it. Seen it happen here in New Jersey myself. That happens. I know it does.
I hadn't thought of that.
A diamond in the sticks. Yes, it's true. I've been through breast cancer, seen it with all that GoFundMe team SH. It's who you know, just like everything else. Seen it with the flood stuff too. It's all clicks. Yeah. There was a lot of donations came in this area after that flood. A lot. And I saw several people comment, like on Facebook and stuff, that they were treated really, really poorly when they went to try and get stuff too. Like when they went to go get stuff, people were fussing at them. Tracy says, that's why I never remarried after the first. Yeah, I won't.
Amen, Sister Tracy.
The one up there at Jenkins was like that at first with the flood too, but then after a few weeks, they just started giving it out to everybody. I don't think they gave out nothing since March. Yeah.
Well, they have to get rid of it, and storage is a problem too. Yeah. I mean, North Carolina's having a terrible storage problem with the stuff.
Yeah. Allegedly, Lisa, everything that glitters is not gold. That's right, honey.
There's a song about Lisa. I can't remember the rest of it, but I'll have to look it up.
They gave out strawberries. I am a widow and have no plans to remarry. The horror stories. I know. I learned real fast through the flood stuff. Not everything that says free or volunteering is real. They get paid for that. Well, listen, I ran a nonprofit. I got hired on to run a nonprofit, and it was a it was a they had already had an existing grant that I was finishing up, and then I had to also then write the new grant for the following funding, the next step in the process. And I worked with two grant counselors from the funder, from our primary funder, and we were online, like on a Zoom call 3 times a week, for a few hours each day. And they helped me write that grant according to the parameters that the grant was supposed to be written. And through them guiding me, I really got a great education on grant writing through them. But I learned that most people, well, let me not say that. I learned how easy it is for the misappropriation of funds. I learned how little oversight is involved in any of that stuff. Nonprofit groups have got a vast, vast amount of room to do a lot of bad things. Just saying. LS, it would be fun for you to film downtown Whitesburg. The buildings built by Italian stonemasons are beautiful. Yeah, we do have some beautiful buildings down there.
Yeah, that church, that Presbyterian church that's sitting back there on the back street. It's on
behind the courthouse.
It is. Oh, yeah. And they went and when the workers went back to work there, it's a Presbyterian church. And it's built by the stonemasons. Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful. I've always admired it. But they went down and put heart of flowers around the courthouse when the courthouse workers went back, to express their love and support for the workers.
Yeah. When I'm out picking up the litter thrown out in front of my house, I wonder if anyone thinks, oh my goodness, an older woman out having to pick up others' trash. I'm sorry, honey.
Well, another good story. We had this guy named Red Sellers, and he has kids. Also,
I remember him.
Yeah. Well, his mother was she was very old then. And so she would come, and one of Red's daughters made a dentist over in Harlan County, where she was last account I had of her. And he had 2 boys, and they became famous at something, but I don't remember what. Well, anyway, his mother picked up pop cans. So every day she would come and go through our trash at the college there and get all the pop cans in the area. And she, crushed them and all that. And she paid for a vacation for her and her granddaughter, that is the dentist now, to go to Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
What a story.
That's cool.
It is very cool.
Absolutely.
Nah, they don't feel no guilt. People that throw stuff out, they just, they're not in the same frame of mind that you're in. It don't mean that they're bad people, but they don't have that community feel of trying to improve everybody's lot in life.
Yeah, let's see. War Boop says, my brother said, put a nickel between your knees, LOL. I am too old for babies now, but you can bet with men I will sure handhold a nickel. Those men that are someone's ex out there.
Well, I never remarried. I didn't think it was right.
Yeah, you didn't. Put a sign in your yard that says, smile, you're on camera. Nonprofits work with government to subvert the law, protect the elites. When I uncovered a lot of dirt, and when I uncovered it, I was let go.
Well, let's not talk about that.
All right. I have a sign that says mudslingers lose ground. I have cameras and I put out a spinning eye winking like a sun catcher as well.
Sounds like a great idea.
I can tell you with the litter stuff, they don't care about that either. I used to do that too. Did it for the Girl Scouts. They got paid $1,000, I think, for 3 miles back when people didn't. Our baseball teams, get the parents have to go out every year, and we do
trash pickups.
Yeah, we do trash pickups, and we have certain areas. Like each.
I go pick up trash.
Yeah, we've went and picked it up several times, just me and the boys, and done it ourselves. Whenever you have a bottleneck flowing all the money or evidence to one place, it's typical of criminals. The authority must be consolidated to minimize hands on the crimes. Oh, look there, Miss Susie, my new member. Thank you.
Woo-wee.
Everybody, we got memberships, and we're going to start doing members-only videos with the juicy tidbits we might not want to say publicly. So everybody that wants to be a member, for the cost of a cup of coffee. Elizabeth, do tell your audience, was the guy Sweet Tater's folding sheets?
He was here.
Waiting for
worker. And I just love him.
Yeah.
And so he comes 1 or 2 days a week, and I pay him good.
Yeah.
And he comes, and so I sleep on the couch a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was straightening up my bed for tonight because I wanted a good-looking bed to crawl in tonight.
Yes. Thank you, Miss Suki. I think I said Susie. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Suki. All right. Now let me get back over here to speak your piece. All right. Interestingly, 80 million people traveled for Thanksgiving and Christmas sales are setting a record high when less than a month ago no one could afford eggs.
Well, eggs have gone up in price. Maybe they'll come back down.
Well, that's true. The president of Mexico destroyed Trump's claims about Mexico. 70% of the illegal pew-pews seized from criminals in Mexico come from your country. We do not produce these weapons, nor do we consume synthetic rugs. Tragically, it is in our country that lives are lost to the violence resulting from meeting the rug demand in yours.
Well, I guess maybe that he's talking to the Mexican government.
Well,
I don't really
think that's the Mexican government talking to Trump. Okay, so let me read it.
Oh, okay.
The president of Mexico destroys Trump's claims about Mexico. 70% of the illegal pew-pews seized from criminals in Mexico came from your country. So he's saying they come from the USA.
Go ahead and read the next one. It's about the deportation of undocumented workers.
Okay, folks, if Donald Trump conducts a massive deportation of undocumented immigrants, we are in trouble. They are here to make an honest living with their labor and live the American dream. Millions are doing unskilled work in factories, on the farms, in fast food restaurants, in hotels, as well as construction work and various other occupations that the documented Americans don't want to work. If Trump raises tariffs, as he has threatened, every product brought into this country will be more expensive, and you and I will suffer at the stores. Other countries will raise tariffs on American goods, making it more difficult to be competitive in the world market. Massive layoffs of American workers will follow. Who stands to gain from this scenario? Not the American shoppers. Within 6 months of the Trump administration, we will be right back at 10% unemployment, just like his previous administration. Are we headed for another depression?
I gotta go, but I just wanted to say about the deportation. Those are the people that pick our crops here in America and pick our fruit and pick our crops. And while they may not be American citizens, they're brought here for the purpose of doing that. I just read a big article from North Carolina. They were talking about that a lot of the workers, and we say that those are workers and they're illegal aliens, but they're not. They're here for the express purpose of helping us collect our crops.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to say that. But I'm going to say goodbye to everybody because I got to take a bath and get down to the radio station. We're doing a big old interview, and I'm going to be on television.
Are you?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be on Gavin Fish's show on Thursday too. By the way, they booked me as a guest speaker on the Gavin Fish YouTube channel show. So Thursday, I think at 7:30, I'll put it on my community page too. So if anybody wants to watch it.
So bye. Turn me off, Elizabeth.
All right. Bye, Mommy.
Bye.
All right. We're going to turn her off. All right, guys. We're going to finish Speak Your Piece without Mommy. Post the link to become a member. I'm going to post it. It's in the description on my channel. I was looking to see where I'd find it at, but I don't know if I can find it real quick or not. But I'll put it in the description, okay? Let's see. It's at the top. I always put it at the very top of every description of all my videos. So if you go to the description of the video, you can click on that link and it'll take you to the memberships. Wherever we fished or swam, we always picked up after ourselves and others. And there was always those who didn't pick up. I know. Shame X. Now, Liz, I don't comment much, but I'm watching. That's okay, honey. Thank you. Shame X, too. That Mountain Eagle article is a hoot and some truthing going on, I'd imagine. Yep. Good day to you, Tater. Love your voice. That's wonderful. TV, wow. That's okay, Miss Lori. Thank you for being here. Let me go back to the Speaky Piece. Okay. It would be nice to hear reports on projects in the Jenkins area during the city council meetings. We should have reports on new housing, water and sewer projects, and the dredging of the Jenkins Lake. By the way, the Jenkins Lake and Dam is considered the most dangerous in the state of Kentucky. We need police and fire department reports in some detail. The success of the proposed cabins and other items to attract people to Jenkins and the area on Pine Mountain will depend on the removal in many houses that are an eyesore. Thank you. Well, and I'll tell you too, one of the problems, I've been approached several times by people asking me to help them with grant writing, to help write grants. Well, the problem is nobody wants to pay you. And it is very, very time consuming. It is very hard. To do it by yourself is just, you'd have to really, really, really know a lot of stuff to be able to do it on your own. You really have to kind of coordinate those things with several different other people. So, I don't know. All right, let me move on to something else. Uh, has Jenkins High School dropped football? Sure did. I saw no results of games during the season. Football is a numbers game. It requires dedication, hard work, and many boys willing to sacrifice. Well, I just saw one of our assistant coaches last week at the pharmacy, and he said that our middle school team, because my boys play ball of all kinds, they play baseball, basketball, and football. And our middle school team was cut after about a month because we didn't have enough boys to play. We only had like 8 players. Everybody kept quitting. Well, then they worked on the Pee Wee team. The Pee Wee had enough members, and so all the coaches kind of migrated to the Pee Wee team. And we also had a high school team. Well, the one of the assistant coaches, or who worked with them as a coach, said that for the high school, they all met. Some of them wanted to quit, so they took a vote, a team vote, and 8 of them wanted to quit. If I've got my numbers right, it was something like 8 of them wanted to quit, and 7 of them wanted to keep playing. So since the majority rules, they went ahead and closed the team. And he said the very next week, several of those boys who had quit, who had voted to quit, to shut the team down, was texting him saying, "Can we get the team back together? Can we get the team back together?" And he was like, "No, no, it's too late now." So that's what happened this year with our Jenkins football team. We've not had a real good football team, and well, I don't want to say that. High school has a really great coach. Everybody really likes him, and we've got some really great athletes. We just don't have enough of them. Jenkins School is a very, very, very small school, and it's got the middle school and the high school is combined, so everybody's in under one roof, the middle school and the high school. LS. What about undocumented terrorists that can cross the border to do harm? We have corruption here in Lowell. I know that. Is that where you're at? It's in Lowell. I grew up in Cumberland, so I know that area very well. Mommy when she first got her job at the college, she first started in Cumberland and worked there for about 13, 15 years. And then she transferred over to Whitesburg campus, and she's been there for the last 35 years, 30 years. She's been here a long time. One of the best teachers ever in math. When other teachers are trying to teach you and it just don't seem to go, it's not clicking, Mom can sit down and show you one time, and boom, you got it. There is a thing about being a good teacher, and she is one of the best when it comes to math. Do students in Jenkins ever attend school? For example, a week off for Thanksgiving is ridiculous. Counting the weekends, Jenkins did not have class for 9 days. After a week or two, the school will be out for Christmas vacation, which is usually 2 weeks. I wonder if the teachers work so hard they need this many days off. I also understand students don't have homework. With homework, the students must spend more time on the subject, and the teachers must check this work. Well, I'm not complaining. When my kids went to Martha Jane Potter, they had 3 hours of homework every single night. And I'm talking about like 1st and 2nd grade, 3rd grade. They had unbelievable amounts of homework. And they were not getting good grades. They couldn't read very well. I held both of my kids back in the first grade because they could not read well enough to go on to second grade. When we came here to Jenkins, as soon as we transferred to Jenkins, the principal called me and said, "They're really behind." And I said, "I know." But now at the time, in my own defense, I was getting my master's degree, my bachelor's and my master's degree. And I was a single mom, and I was doing everything by myself with 2 babies. And I had to do my work. So it was really hard keeping a 4.0 in graduate school. And then after I got done with my stuff, have to do 3 hours each of their homework at night. And I just didn't do it. I know this might sound awful, but I had to focus on my schoolwork. I just didn't have enough hours of the day or enough time, energy, or anything to be doing all of that homework with them. And so they were behind. And she had them go to summer school here in Jenkins. And by the time they were done in summer school, they knew their times tables. They were doing so much better. And then the following year was the COVID year, or I think that next one was the COVID year. And they said that we could hold them back and do the COVID do-over year, and it wouldn't hurt them. So I held mine back again on the COVID do-over year. And Jenkins does not ever send homework home. They do their work in school. Like, that was my biggest thing. Like, why at Martha Jane Potter, what are you all doing in class every day? They're there for 8 hours. I needed them to learn while they were in school. I couldn't do it with them. I wasn't a teacher. I just couldn't do it. And so Jenkins has been wonderful for my kids. Wonderful. I can't speak high. And Jenkins had some of their scores, their testing scores were shouted out in the newspaper. I don't remember exactly what it was, but they all got really, really high scores this year. So I kind of like Jenkins. It has fit better for my family. But, everybody, we've all got our own opinions. I like the no homework rule. Yeah. And my kids' grades are better. Like when they send them 3 hours of homework and you don't get all that homework done, they get bad grades. All that stuff ain't turned in. But with Jenkins, they're doing all that schoolwork in the classroom. So their grades are better. And where my boys play ball, they have to stay eligible to play. And so that's what you call a real teacher. Parents shouldn't have to do the teacher's job at night. I know that's how I felt. JMO, you seem to have done well and turned out just fine. One smart lady you are. Look at you now, keeping us informed with your channel. Thank you. Bless you, bless you, bless you. When is the civil case with him? Well, we just did they set that hearing. We did a video on it. You'll have to go back and watch that video that we did the other night. And it'll tell you. I forget what the date set was. Or the set date was. To a girl on Little Collie. There's a sign up right in front of the store that says surveillance camera. And you're stupid enough to sit there and do a deal. When Biden pardoned 2 turkeys last week, I assumed one of them was Hunter. Oh, but he waited a couple of days before that. I have bone to pick with my 2 cousins at Red Star. My granny died in 2015, but ever since then, you don't want me or my uncle on your property. You use it like it's your own hunting preserve. I don't know why every time somebody passes away, families end up fighting, and somebody is always acting silly and rotten. And that's a shame. That's a shame. Classes where teachers have to teach. Yes, parents should not have to our taxes paying the teachers. You are my favorite channel. So glad I found you. Well, thank you, Susie. Thank you for being here. Bless you, bless you, bless you. When is the civil trial with Mickey? They're looking at Lugnut. They are the article that we read said that they were looking for a settlement. They're working for a settlement. So if they settle that civil case, then they'll just pay a whole big bunch of money and it'll go away. So we'll never see the trial if they settle it. Which that's what I think will happen, because they're going to win. You know, he pled guilty. He got sentenced. They're going to win it. So it's only now, it's just negotiating how much money they're going to give them. I think it's a shame that people get more time in jail and prison for rugs than people do for child. CSAM stuff. How do you get a sentence of only 5 years probation for blanking children? What's our county coming to? Well, you can thank Jamie Hatton for that. Matt Butler defended him in a related case, which everybody is entitled to a defense. But like I just said, you can't find an attorney to go against anybody down there, but you can sure find an attorney that'll represent you on some CSAM stuff. And then he gets voted in or appointed by the attorney general and the governor. That was the governor that appointed him. And then he won election. And then Jamie Hatton took over this case. Now, I get all fired up on this case because it's just unbelievable. Jamie Hatton's been in there too long. Too long. I think we need term limits for all of these positions, because he was appointed by the Attorney General. Jamie Hatton was appointed as the special prosecutor for Patrick's case. And Jamie went in there as the prosecutor and acted like his defense attorney. He went in there and recommended 5 years probation. And we won't, and if the judge will accept it, we'll recommend that you spend it on house arrest and work release. Well, I have never in my life ever seen a felony charge of this, something like this. And then what it looks like to me, when they had to delay the sentencing for him because they had that Safer Kentucky Act law came down the pike and they didn't think they were going to even be able to give a special sentencing, they went and dropped it from first degree to third degree. So that way it would be eligible for special sentencing recommendations. That's what it looks like they did. So, I mean, serve and protect the predators. That's who they're serving and protecting, and it's all their friends. They're their buddies. You can take that to the bank. Oh, it makes me so mad. Makes me just shake all over. They need to fire everybody in that courthouse and start over. Well, we need to stop voting them in. But if they're the only name on the ballot when you go to vote, who are you supposed to vote for? It just, where are victims supposed to go? Nobody would have taken this case, the Ben Fields' victims, nobody would have taken that case. Nobody. In my opinion, Ned Pillersdorf wouldn't have took it. No way. Unless they had that plea bargain. That's the only way, because it was an easy win. It was easy money. He pled guilty. Makes me so mad. And Patrick has his shop. He sells a bunch of little outbuildings, and he sells music instruments, and he sells propane. He's got a big business there in Whitesburg, and it's right straight across the street from the high school, from the LCC high school. So if he was to become a SMEX offender, a registered SMEX offender, could he still be there? Because it didn't say anything in any of the articles about him being registered. Didn't say one word about that. So I don't know if if that was part of these conditions or not, but it sure never mentioned it in any of the articles. Thank you, Miss Victoria. You rock. Mickey, Ben Fields was the only one that was criminally charged. He took a plea bargain. He pled guilty to the counts, the SMEX counts, and perjury. He was also charged with perjury, which he pled guilty to, and he was given 6 months in jail to serve at the Letcher County Jail, where his wife worked as a deputy. So I'd love to see some video of that. I'd really like to see jail video of that during that 6 months to see if he stayed in the cell like all the other inmates. I'd love to see that. Then whenever the civil suit was filed, they included Mickey in that as Ben Fields' boss, because according to the allegations, they think that Mickey should have known what was going on. If he didn't, he should have. And he failed to properly train and supervise Ben Fields. So Mickey is being held accountable for what Ben Fields, for not supervising or training Ben Fields. But he's still in that lawsuit. And I also wanted to make another correction too. I said in a previous video that I thought that the unnamed person that they had in that civil suit could be Judge Mullins, and I was wrong. It's not Judge Mullins. It is the ankle monitoring company. So they're suing Ben Fields, they're suing Mickey Stines, and they're suing the ankle monitor company. That is who the unnamed people are. So that'll be very interesting. But like I said, I think that they're going to settle that case. But where's the money coming from? Where's the money going to come from? If they don't have the money to pay for, like several years ago, they were trying to get money to pay their deputies. They were having to lay off deputies and stuff. I don't know about now. What about all the confiscated money and rugs that they take in? Where's all that money? Because they get all that forfeiture money. I don't know how much of it they get, but they get the forfeiture money. The sheriff's department does. It has to be released like through a court. The court has to order it, I'm pretty sure. But all that they were confiscating off of these streets here in Letcher County, because they were documenting it, they were putting it on Facebook. Every time they would get a big bust, they'd lay it all out on a table, position it all real pretty, take pictures and put it on Facebook. Well, you're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff and money that they were confiscating. Where's all that going? And who's keeping track of all that evidence? And you got to remember, a lot of people, like Mommy said, a lot of people don't even go to trial. A whole lot of them take plea bargains. Well, once they've taken that plea bargain and they've pled guilty to this stuff, what do they do with the evidence then? Where's all this stuff going and who's overseeing it all? We've done had one of our police officers charged, Brian Dameron, under Danny Webb, for taking things out of the evidence and selling it on the street. Would it be a far guess to think that it could happen again? Especially when they were bringing in a whole lot more now than they were back then. Whatever you do, watch your change at convenience stores located out in the county. They will not give the correct change back to you. Count your change, people. I would like to speak my piece about the city of Jenkins, especially City Hall and the garbage pickup or lack thereof. I pay my garbage bill and water bill on time every month, and it's a shame I have to keep calling to remind them to pick up my trash. The people who live up here are getting pretty mad over this, especially when you got dogs that'll come up and rip all your garbage out. That little last part was me. It wasn't on Speaky Piece. The Joker who made that mean-spirited jab at the Mountain Eagle and the missing right wing has me puzzled. Left or right wing are cheap labels, not definitions. Does this caller really want me to think he or she and like-minded others do not want fair, accurate news reporting? The Mountain Eagle is one of those rare and brave local assets that are increasingly under attack. We are awfully lucky to have it, and I am thankful that we still do. And the paper responded and said, "Thank you very much." Gee, how things have changed. Donnie Dogood is on his way to the White House, and Mickey Stines is on his way to the big house. And that is December 4th's issue of Speak Your Piece. Let's see. Warboop says, sounds like a lot of back scratching going on in that county. It is truly sick. Yeah. Well, and it's power, y'all. It's power hungry. Power, money, social status. Even in the mountains, honey, they got social status. So the public will not learn of the evidence or corruption leading to the original crimes. That's right, Carol. If they settle it, the only way we'll find out those kinds of things is through Mickey's criminal trial. Where was anybody supposed to go? Who was anybody supposed to go to? There really wasn't anywhere for anyone to turn. And I've said it several times in this broadcast. That victim, that recording was done when they were investigating Ben Fields. Not recently. That was done during the Fields investigation. That's 2 years ago or longer? That the recording could have been done before. Of course, the recording was probably done before he was sentenced, before he took his plea. And we've not heard a word about it, right? Even in the civil suit, Ned Pillersdorf has even said, we're not alleging that Kevin Mullins knew anything was going on. Well, they've not put that in there because they can't prove it. right? You're going to have to be able to prove it if you're going to allege it, especially in a civil suit. But I'm no lawyer, remember. But the only way we're going to find out anything is if Mickey talks, because I don't think anybody else is going to talk. But if Mickey talks, he's not going to talk because it would put his family in danger. Who knows, y'all? Who knows? We don't know. We just don't know. Okay, I was confused if he was found guilty, but he has not yet been tried in it then. No. Mickey hasn't been found guilty of anything yet. And Ben Fields has not been and I don't think it's necessarily a guilt or not guilty in a civil case. That's not the standard is different in a civil case than it is a criminal case. In a criminal case, it's beyond a reasonable doubt, I'm pretty sure. And then a civil case, if I'm not mistaken, is a preponderance of the evidence or something like that. I wish we had a lawyer that we could get to come on and answer some of these questions for us. I've got a friend who's a lawyer that lives in Louisville, Frankfort area, but I don't know if he'd come on. I'd like him to, but I don't know if he would or not. I'm about scared to ask. Let's see. They can do a sheriff's sale and make money on it all, but the taxpayers will be on the hook, no doubt, for it all. They usually are. It's usually the city. Like, how many times I've seen news stories on TV, and they're like, the city of blankety blank is just paid a $20 million settlement because of X, Y, and Z. And so I don't know who because now we have a new sheriff. So I don't know if it resets when you have the entrance of a new sheriff, or if it doesn't reset, or if it goes to the end of that term. I wish we had the answers to those questions. If they can get away with all the schmacks, no one knowing, then they will hide all the rest, in my opinion. The meals for seniors from Cane's I have seen posted aren't worth the drive or the money. I'm sorry. You know, when they first started, it was amazing and they were doing really good, but now they're starting to get all these millions of dollars come in through all these big grants and stuff. And so the more money, the more greed. And that's for just anybody and anywhere. The Pine Mountain Grill used to be really, really good back years and years ago. And then whenever they, it's kind of like the old jails. The old jails always hired an old woman to come in and cook all the inmates' meals. And they used real potatoes, and at least the old Harlan County Jail, shoot, that's where you wanted to go to eat. They had the best cook over there at the jail ever was. And they would pile the food on their trays. And, you know, people that were, and I'm talking a couple decades ago, 2 or 3, 4, and people that were homeless or that were, you know, street people, they'd much rather go to the jail because they could eat, they'd stay warm, they'd stay off, you know, out of the weather and stuff. And now everything is processed and they buy in bulk or whatever, and just the food ain't no good. I wouldn't drive to Whitesburg and pay the prices at Pine Mountain Grill for nothing. You couldn't give me the food there anymore. Just ain't no good. Constables, in my opinion anyway, constables do not need any more authority. Some are too close to the courthouse games. Laws made and not upheld is called corruption, and it's far and wide in the USA, more so than ever, in my opinion. It's deep and deeper than we may ever know. Oh, yeah. And we've all heard the rumors, like there's a lot of rumors that have been going on for a long time. And one of the lawyers, his favorite quote is telling his buddies, laughing and telling his buddies that he's a hardcore pervert pay. Give you a little bit more pig Latin. I mean, that comes right out of his own mouth. Let's see. Is there any way to appeal to the State Bureau of Investigation for all this mess? I'm sure the FBI has been told many, 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 many times. But just look at the Commonwealth Attorney in Hazard, that Blair man. Look what they did with him. He was sexually abusing men, male victims. He was doing math himself. He was messaging these victims, having them bring him the rugs that he was taking, and then wanting them to let him do stuff to them, which they did because they were scared, and they were in a, the one victim, I said it before, he came out into the paper and said, what was I supposed to do? I had no choice. He had my life in his hands. You know what he was charged with? Honest services fraud. And he got 54 months in jail, in prison. That's 5 years. That's it. That's all he got. And that was the FBI. So if that tells you anything, you can't trust the FBI the same as you can't trust the rest of the bunch around here. Did you say Judge, his wife, is the sheriff's sister? No. The judge and the Commonwealth Attorney, Matt Butler. Judge Kevin Mullins and Matt Butler, who is our Commonwealth Attorney now, married sisters. So, Elizabeth, your name, Hillbilly Crime, has been brought up numerous times in the comments on some of the big crime television networks. So be ready to hear from them. Well, thank you, honey. Yeah, Thursday, I'm going to be on Gavin Fish show. So anybody who wants to watch us, I'll be on Thursday on his show, and I'll put it in the community page on our channel. I'll go in and put a link to his channel, and then whenever we go on, I'll stream it on my channel too. So that's exciting. Yay, we're growing, y'all. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscription button, please, and hit the like button if you do. I ain't too proud to beg, y'all. It's just the like button, and it helps us so much. The more likes we get, it helps with the YouTube algorithm, and it shows our channel to more people. So, and we just recently hit 3,000 subscribers. So, yay. A local courthouse used to be the eating hub. They had a cook that would fix you anything you wanted. Yeah, those were the old days, honey. Those were the old days. Oh, you are kidding. Judge's wife, Stines, or new sheriff? Which judge? No, Judge Mullins. the one who passed away, and the Commonwealth attorney, Matt Butler, they're married to sisters. The sheriff doesn't have nothing to do with that. The sheriff's sister doesn't have a sister. The sheriff ain't married to one of them's sister. Nothing. The sheriff used to be Judge Mullins' bailiff. So Judge Mullins has been a district court judge since 2010. I think he was actually appointed in 2009 from a vacancy, and then he was elected in 2010. So he's been the district judge since 2010. That's going on 15 years, I guess. And Mickey was his bailiff for all those years. I'm not sure when he first became the bailiff, but I know he's been Kevin's bailiff forever. And then whenever he decided to run for sheriff and won, he just moved to the sheriff's office, which is just directly right behind the courthouse. So even though he wasn't and then his employee, Ben Fields, took his place in the courtroom as Kevin's new bailiff. But they were still having lunch together every day. They were still seeing each other every day. So even though he was just right behind the building in another building, he was still in the courthouse all the time. And the sheriff's daughter is 17, or she was 17. She's a senior. She was a senior in high school, but she has worked with her mom. Her mom is like a bigwig at the Double Quick. She's not the one that you pay your gas. She's the one that's like over payroll for all their stores. And she's been there a very long, long time. And I would say that Childers Oil and Double Quick, they're her bosses, they're pretty much the biggest business owners in this area. It never even dawned on me when they thought that they were going to give Mickey a bond. I thought, well, it doesn't matter. Even if they gave him a $500,000 bond, he's not going to be able to pay it. People will probably have to come together and chip in to try and pay his bond, which I know people would do. But then it dawned on me, her bosses could pay it. Well, and not even blink an eye. It wouldn't hurt them one bit. Even if they put a $5 million bond up, the company that she works for could pay it if they would. I don't know if they would or not, but they could. So, that's something. I would be terrified to be a minority in that county. What in the world is going on down there? Well, and it's being women. I'm not a big feminist. Let me say that right now. I am not a bra-burning feminist, okay? Never have been. Now, my mommy might be a little bit one, but I'm not. But, so you're not going to hear me go on and on about, women's lib and all this stuff. I think a lot of that is garbage, to be honest with you. But, and I'm not one to say, oh, it's because I'm a woman. It's because I'm a woman. But, it's because I'm a woman. I hate to say that, but it's true. This is the good old boys club down here. You don't get in that circle unless you're related to them. The only reason, well, I can't say the only reason, but Jamie Hatton's sister, Angie Hatton, she's a lawyer. But she's Jamie's sister. And their grandfather was a big coal guy around here. The park, the Whitesburg Baseball Park is named after him. Cook, I forget his first name, but something Cook. And So they've had generational power, you know. But I don't like what Jamie Hatton has done at all. Not at all. He's never been nice to me from day one. I went in there and took my stuff in there and thought, there I had my piece of paper. I had a piece of paper that said I was eligible and that I was credible. I had credentials that said I could do that kind of work. He said, "Who told you could go into this job? Whoever told you could work in law enforcement?" I was like, huh? What? What? I did all that work? Yeah, he's not nice. He ain't never been nice to me. But I thought the sheriff's daughter worked for the BP company. Yep, she does. She's worked for her. She's been working there for a while. And part-time for the courthouse, same place her dad worked. You're probably right. I don't know a whole big bunch about them. I know one of my friends is a manager at one of them stores and said that his daughter would always come in there wanting her to sell her like tobacco products that she wasn't old enough to buy. And she wouldn't do it because she was like, "Oh, that girl trying to get me fired." And she's like, "I ain't, no way, Jose." Allegedly, let's put that in there. Allegedly trying to get her to sell her stuff. She was like, "Do you know what her mom would do to me?" Yeah, and you lose your job because if you sell to somebody who's under 18, you're gone. You get caught, that's a big fine selling to underage. Let's see. These days where I live, the local flavor is slipping away. It's all DoorDash, not to bemerge side hustles. I know people have to do whatever they can to make ends meet. Yep. I know. Don't have DoorDash here in East Kentucky. They've got something though here because every time I go through McDonald's, they're asking me if I want to use the mobile app, and I think that's for DoorDashers. So that they could have DoorDash here, honey, or somebody. It might be called something else. Is the new sheriff local? Yeah, his name is Billy Jones, and he was a school resource officer at LCC High School. And he's done some other law enforcement stuff, I reckon, but I didn't know him. I still don't know him. Don't know if he's from here. I think I read that thing that said he was from somewhere else, but maybe he might be from here. I don't know. But I'm a Jones too, and it's no relation. Stolen from our shipments to other countries. Yeah, I think you worked at the high school as truant officers. He's got kids, I think, that go to school around here. At least that's what I think I saw on one of his posts or something. I tried to reach out to the new one when he was at the high school over child's tardies, etc. He said, I quote, "I just don't feel right coming down on them children." So, in other words, why was he working? Had men talk badly about me within earshot. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I walked out of the courthouse one day when I was going through my mess, and I was so upset at what they were doing to me. Like, it just was wrong. It was wrong. And anybody who saw it knew it was wrong. And I left there and I walked straight over to Daniel Dotson's office. And I walked up the stair. I walked in the door and his office is upstairs over the barbershop there. But the door's downstairs. So you walk in the door and then you walk all the way up these big long stairs. And when I went in there, the women who worked in there looked at me like I was an alien. And I asked if he was there, and I started leaving. And I started walking down the stairs, and then women started laughing. I cannot believe she had the nerve to come in here. And I had never spoken to Daniel a day in my life, I don't think. Every time I tried to talk to him about trying to find a lawyer, like they had already heard what had happened from me leaving the courthouse and me walking downstairs, walking across the street, and walking up the stairs. Those women in his office already knew what had happened in the courtroom. It is a very, very, very gossipy, like, it's a den of snakes. All of it is down there. Could it be Mickey S. was so busy he didn't keep track of the guy Ben and the nudge night tangles? I really wonder about that. Well, I've said Ben Fields was not a ladies' man, y'all. In my opinion, he just was not a ladies' man. He was really, really, really nice. He was, very low-key demeanor. I had spoken to him, being at the courthouse. And he just seemed like a really, really nice, well-mannered guy. I think he was bald on top. He was not a ladies' man, y'all. He was more like, the family man. Like, I don't know. He just, when I heard that this was what he was doing, or that he was the one that was doing all this, I was just blown away. I was blown away. But, Kevin wasn't no hunk either. So if he was doing those things, and let me say that too, the women that allegedly was approached with this, like, they weren't supermodels, y'all. They weren't on their best day, in their orange jumpsuit, and they probably hadn't had a bath, and there wasn't the cell that I was in down there. There ain't no shower in there. So you have to be taken out and put somewhere where you can take a bath. A lot of these jails don't let you have a bath every day. I mean, you think about this. Think about just how disgusting that is. And now that's if they're in the jail, right? But then they go home on their ankle monitors. I don't know. I just don't. They're. I don't know how if they didn't have the money to pay for their ankle monitor, they probably weren't even wherever they were living. It would be a little bit questionable. I mean, is this somebody else's house that's letting them stay there? I mean, there's just so many different factors to this that is just disgusting. It's just sickening. Let's see. Job he was doing if he can't do it right. So I'd say he'll be the same way, just like how it goes. As soon as they get in there, their hands get dirty too. I've always heard it. If you're not dirty when you go in, you are when you come out. And you got people that are inexperienced in certain things. This might be the first time they've ever had a job like this or whatever. They come in. That's what I was saying the other night. They hire these people on who don't know any better, who don't have any higher education, who probably have never had an ethics class in their life, and they bring them on, and then they are the ones who train them. Well, why couldn't I get a job with a master's degree in criminal justice? And they wouldn't let me be a dog catcher down there. Well, because if they hire anybody who has a little bit of knowledge about things, the way that things are supposed to be done, or, you know what I mean? Somebody who knows if they're doing right or wrong, or if they're doing bad. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that what Ben was doing was wrong. But, did he come on and see others doing it? That woman in that, the victim here, in her interview, she said, Ben and the higher ups. Well, that's plural. That means more than one. So who else was doing it? And the way that they were questioning her in that interview, to me, it sounded like they didn't even believe her. And they sure didn't do anything with the information, not that we know of. I mean, they don't have to disclose their investigation, of course, but surely there would have been something hit before now in 2 years after they took this. All they would have had to do would be do search warrants. I'm no lawyer though, but we don't have to be lawyers to know how the criminal justice system is supposed to work. That's where I always get in trouble, because people want to try and tell me this is how it is, and I know better, so I call BS on it. No, that ain't true. Ain't true. Like asking for public records and them say, oh, well, have your lawyer contact us. Well, I don't have to have a lawyer to ask for public records. Oh, well, no, you don't. But that's just how I'm used to dealing with it. No, it ain't. See, if it was somebody else that was asking that probably didn't know any better, that would shut them up and get them to go away, wouldn't it? You ask one something, they're like, oh, no, I don't have to put handcuffs on them. I don't have to put handcuffs on that prisoner. I can put them in the back seat of that cop car. Oh, shoot, we don't handcuff many people. You don't? You're supposed to. That's an officer safety thing. And that's those. I'm just using those as examples, But I call them on stuff, and somebody who probably wouldn't know any better, though, they can tell them anything that they want. And who's going to know? It's dirty. Will this civil suit hurt Sheriff's family, finances, or property? Or will that not be allowed for wife to lose her home over this? If so, she may have to work for the rest of her days to pay the judge. Well, I don't know how that works. I don't think that it's like, if you're married, I think those, like if somebody sues one, wouldn't both be on the hook? I don't know, y'all. I wish we had a lawyer, though, that would come on here and answer some of these questions. I can ask, but I don't think my friend would do it. Is because of, people are afraid to speak. I'm not scared to talk, because they weren't none of them my friends anyway, right? Wasn't none of them liked me anyway. So why wouldn't I say what I think? I mean, why not? Like, they're not ever going to give me a job in the future. God gives me all of my open doors. And when God opens them, honey, no man can shut them. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Is the Masonic Lodge big there in Kentucky? Was Mullins or Sheriff Stines a Mason? I don't know. It's a good question. They're all smart butts and think their crap don't stink. Let's see. Miss Connie, hello, honey, hello. Well, just say, I don't know. I don't know how that works. I just don't know how that works. But we'll have to find it. We'll have to find out. Hopefully we'll get us somebody on here that'll know a little bit more than we do about how that works. I don't know, like, and just as a scenario, could somebody hurry up and divorce their spouse? So their spouse would be the only one that was affected by that. I don't think that's allowed, because if that was allowed, that would be happening all the time. People would get out of having to have to pay those kinds of penalties. So I'm not really sure. We need us a lawyer that we can ask. I will try and remember that on Thursday, and we'll see if Mr. Gavin Fish knows the answer to that question. And I'm going to put it in the community tab, the link and stuff. I don't know if I'll get back on tonight. I don't think so, because we have a ball game tonight. So I think we'll be at the school. And then I'll do another one tomorrow. It's easier for me to do them during the day when all the kids are at school and the dogs are quiet and all that good stuff. But I think we have a lot bigger of an audience at night. So just look for us in the morning. Who knows? We might start doing 2 a day. I'm trying to figure out how best to do it all. So, all right, y'all. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. And thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your chats, your super chats, and your memberships. We got us another member today. And sometimes on a lot of these other shows, I see that people donate memberships too. Like one person could buy 10 memberships and then donate them to people who couldn't afford it. So that's a really, really nice thing to do. But you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow, okay? All right. And the thing that we're going to do tomorrow is on Dr. Acker and his daughter, Tammy. Okay. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Bless you.